Hello, world. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so good to be with all of you today. We are live on Rumble, live on Twitter, live on Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, every podcast platform you can ever imagine. The Shannon Joy Show reaching upwards over 1 million eyes and ears every single month, and we do it completely independently. Not left, not right, just the truth, straight up every day in Crazy Town, USA. And I'm your host, Shannon Joy, white knuckled on this roller coaster with all of you. Fire hose in the face in terms of the daily headlines. And we're all just hanging on for dear life, trying to get a nut. We have a lot to talk about today. On the Shannon Joy Show, you see it here. Taco Trump declares fake victory last night. Israel resumes bombing Lebanon this morning. This is from Catherine Austin Fitts. The leadership may seem crazy, and that would be Trump and the Trump doctrine, which we're going to get into today, which I have laid out multiple times over the past 18 months. We predicted this would happen from the very beginning because we're dealing with a madman and a crook. He's completely sold out. And we've known this from day one, but it's been very difficult, especially for those on the right, to acknowledge the true nature of the man who runs the United States of America today. And his stock is rapidly diminishing. I will tell you that today. Even MAGA, even Mark Levin this morning is now coming out criticizing the bad deal that Trump made with Iran last night, submitting to the Iranians, claiming that it's victory, gaslighting us on an hourly basis. But that is the hallmark of the Trump doctrine in the United States of America 2026. We're going to get into that today. But Catherine Austin Fitts posted this out. The leadership may seem crazy, but it's more likely they're either afraid or bought, completely cowardly or completely paid off. Trump's claimed victory last night in Iran is, as I told you, a complete farce. And now the Iranians wear the pants and are in complete control of the Strait of Hormuz. And this is what Catherine pushed out this morning. One of the very few sober political analysts, economic analysts, and geopolitical analysts in the world today. She's the president of the Solari Report, and I highly recommend that everyone follow Catherine Austin Fitts. Her handle on Twitter is at Solari_the, and sign up for membership to Solari. Just killer commentary over there outside of the two-party political paradigm, not left, not right, just the truth. And this is why we like her. This is what she had to say, and I think she's spot on. After failing on a covert regime change operation, U.S. has started a conventional war, boots on the ground, bombs dropping, that was intended or promised by Donald Trump to be short, and has now got its head handed to it in a great financial expense and tremendous damage to relationships with allies around the world. The result, writes Catherine, is to significantly increase the status of China, Iran, and Russia in superpower geopolitics. This is one of the most spectacular failures of U.S. leadership in the history of this country. The DOD, after decades of disappearing $21 trillion, which she has written about and spoken about extensively on this show and others, the DOD was busy during the Trump years, poisoning the American people with the COVID shots, and its soldiers during the Biden years in integrating DEI, while its enemies were focused on building the electronic tech and weaponry necessary to defeat the U.S. The fallout of this failure has just begun. That's Catherine Austin Fitts' statement. We're going to get into this today. I also have included in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show Ray Dalio has a piece out that I think makes a lot of sense. It aligns with the analysis of people like Catherine Austin Fitts, Michael Yon, Peter Schiff, Ed Dowd, some of the clearest thinkers in terms of political analysis in the world today. And Ray Dalio wrote this: the big thing that people need to understand is that we are in a world war that isn't going to end anytime soon. And we have a madman in charge here in the United States of America. Taco Trump strikes again. Unbelievable. And we called it yesterday. We had an analysis from Inez Anisirus, who is the producer of the SJ show, who called this on my show yesterday as we're trying to grapple with a president who lies and lies and lies and gaslights, then lies again, pulls the rug out, and grifts and plunders all the way down. 6 weeks after starting a war, which nobody wants. Nobody wants. And if you want context in that, just the recent polling, the most recent polling regarding President Trump and his approval ratings, horrifying. Pew Research, 61% of Americans disapprove of his handling of the war. The Marist poll, 54% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the war. CNN, 66% of Americans disapprove of these actions in Iran. Quinnipiac, 59% disapprove of Donald Trump and his handling of this war. Fox News, lest you make the mistake of thinking that these are only libtards and left-leaning fake polls, even Fox News, as late as March 20 to 23, 64% of those polled disapprove of Trump's handling of this war in Iran. Is it even a war? So Donald Trump, at 6 weeks after starting the war that no one wants, chickens out on his utterly insane threats to annihilate the entire civilization of Iran, men, women, and children. Thankfully, because no one wants to see little children nuked in Iran. But he dragged us through this torturous round of tweeting and posting on Truth Social over the past 3 days. The markets wildly fluctuating, people on pins and needles as he plays with us and the world. Using Truth Social, profanity-laced posts over the last 3 days. Then he claims victory last night with a 10-point peace plan, which Israel, by the way, has seemingly already violated. They are bombing Lebanon as I speak to you right now. And I have seen people are texting me right now that the Strait of Hormuz is closed again. Oh, and by the way, they're bombing Israel as well. So the major victory that Trump declared yesterday, to the applause of the Trump humpers, the very few MAGA Trump humpers, the cultists, the worshipers, most of them are probably paid handsomely to go on Twitter and call this a victory, which it wasn't. People like Jack Posobiec had this to say last night: the grand deal is here, he said. President Trump is the deal maker in chief. Gunther Engelman tweeting out Pete Hegseth. The War Department has done its part. We stand ready in the background to make sure Iran upholds every term of this peace. And everyone knows no one makes a better deal than Trump. To the warriors of Operation Epic Fury, well done, job well done. There was no peace. There was no peace treaty. There was no victory. Once again, Taco Trump chickens out, goes back on all of his words, and lies to the American people in a breathtaking way. And this is the Trump doctrine. This is what we have laid out for you painstakingly on the Shannon Joy Show for the better part of 10 years. He deployed this doctrine right here in the United States of America against his own people, Democrats and Republicans, in his first term. And now he is pursuing this doctrine on the world stage. And it is a doctrine of maddening instability and absolute absurdity. It's a joke. It's a joke. Donald Trump on Easter morning standing next to a bunny, a giant rabbit, talking about bombing women and children in World War III and nuclear holocaust, with Melania flanked on the other side. It's maddening. It is a brazen lie till you die, relentlessly, one lie after another, perpetual chaos, daily gaslighting, creating a new normal of permanent instability. And more importantly, he is creating a fog of war. So much chaos that no person can grapple with it. No one can function within it. It is enough to drive you mad, and that is the point. The fog of war, which is necessary for a family of crooks and predators to plunder this nation, drive it into the ground, and grift all the way down, while they are aiding and abetting their cronies in the New World Order, the puppet masters who are orchestrating the new normal for the 21st century, the NWO, techno-fascists, the globalists, in their attempted takeover of everything. Global surveillance, the surveillance state, the technocracy, techno-fascism, digital ID, tokenization of everything, including our bodies. In order to achieve all of that, they have to completely annihilate sanity and any semblance of order, which is all we really care about, right? Like at the end of the day, through all of this, and the Trump humpers calling him the greatest negotiator and, saying that he's playing 12-dimensional chess. This is not 12-dimensional chess. This is not great negotiation. This is not trust the plan. This is a monkey playing checkers, a mad monkey throwing the board across the room and throwing the checkers around as well. I mean, this guy is insane. People actually take what he is doing seriously. And frankly, what he is doing is very serious. He's creating the greatest distraction on earth while there's an infrastructure, a dangerous infrastructure underneath all of us that is not dominating the headlines. The building up of the technocratic, fascistic police state by corporations and public-private partnerships with corporations like Palantir. Manhattan-sized databases designed to suck up every bit of your information and use it to control you. You own nothing in the 21st century after the year 2030. And Donald Trump is creating the chaos necessary to absolutely annihilate this country. No one's talking about it. No one on right-wing news media, no one on left-wing news media, but that infrastructure is being built. And here on the Shannon Joy Show, we have been reporting on that diligently for the past 16 months, diligently for the past 10 years. Hopefully, finally, people are beginning to wake up to all of this. And we're going to get to all of this on the show today as we work through the chaos. Question for all of you who are watching today. Are any of you better off? Any of you? Any of us? After the madness, following these headlines, trying to figure out what the Mad King feels about this issue or that issue, what he's going to do next. We're trying to analyze someone who is insane. And that's impossible. And no one is better off. Are any of your food prices lower today? Are your job prospects any better today? How about home prices, interest rates, energy costs, your rent? Do you feel more optimistic about the future? Are you excited about the prospects of 2026 and 2027 and beyond? Are any of your prices lower for anything? Flights, travel, textiles, anything, office supplies. Is anything easier about daily life and the pursuit of happiness? Anything easier about the American dream today? What about gas prices? Are you excited about blackouts and brownouts on the horizon as we face oil shortages, skyrocketing oil prices, and energy lockdowns here in the US and abroad? How about the 2-mile wide data centers that they're planning to build in your backyard? Are you excited about that? Sucking up the water, sucking up the power. What about artificial intelligence, which they are shoving down our throats, which we don't need, which is likely a bubble? What about AI taking your job? Are you excited about that? Do you feel good about being poisoned on a daily basis with chemicals like glyphosate? Do you feel good about pharmaceutical companies having liability protection built into the letter of the law, and that liability protection being extended now to chemical companies and extended to AI companies and tech companies as they obliterate your rights, your right to privacy, your right to breathe free and clean air? Are you okay with them dropping chemicals on our heads with geoengineering programs and weather modification programs outside of the letter of the law? Are you happy with completely corrupted courts and completely corrupted political parties and a completely corrupted president who lies to you on a daily basis? Is any of this good? Did anything that Trump accomplished, according to the MAGA retards and the Trump humpers and all of the paid accounts on X and social media, do they see any of this? Or are they living in an alternate universe? Or am I living in an alternate universe? I have 3 children. I'm just like you. I have a mortgage, car payments. We're trying to put our kids through college. I love my children. I want them to have liberty. I want them to live in a sane world. Do you guys want these things too? And is this sane? The things that we're witnessing on a daily basis. And news reporters are actually reporting on with straight faces. We have to call a spade a spade. And I don't know how we get out of this, but I sure as hell know it's not going to be shuffling to an election for the midterms and voting for either of the corrupt political parties, both of whom are responsible for where we are today. Joe Biden was a mad king. Donald Trump is a mad king. And we keep reelecting them because we are so hopelessly divided. Somehow we have to figure out a way to get out of this. Do you feel the same way today? And I didn't mean both inflation and cortisol are up. I see you on YouTube, Liberty 2643. I'm a little hot today. I think you all should be hot. We should be angry. We should demand better from our politicians, our parties, our institutions, our media, both left and right, who are playing into this. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We have a lot to get to today on the SJ Show. And you bet I'm mad. You bet I'm mad. I'm a mother. I have children. They need liberty. And we've lost control here in the United States of America. CM 1968, I see you on the live chat. Let's go to the live chat. Then we're going to go to a quick break. Then we're going to get into the headlines and the news of the day. I do want to thank our sponsors. We are so blessed to be sponsored by our good friend Peter Schiff over at Schiff Gold. If you go to schiffgold.com/joy, that's schiffgold.com/joy. You need to understand what is happening financially here in the US and how much danger we are in as the dollar is completely devalued through profligate spending and money printing by our corrupt government. This means that there's only one place to go, and that's gold and silver. And everyone needs a metal strategy, whether it's gold and silver in a safe in your home or in a safety deposit box, whether it's gold and silver backing up your retirement in an IRA, or gold and silver tokenized, T-Gold. Every option is at your disposal at schiffgold.com/joy. That's schiffgold.com/joy. Peter Schiff has been a regular contributor on the Shannon Joy Show for almost 2 years, and I've been using his analysis for over 10 years on my show It's the only gold company that I trust. I use Shift Gold. I buy my gold from them, and I recommend them to all of you. So shiftgold.com/joy. That is shiftgold.com/joy. Lots of instability coming. And we are beginning to see the Russia, China, Iran alliance gain strength. And their mission is de-dollarization. And their tool is physical gold and silver. So if you want a clue as to where the world is going, you might want to take a peek at what Peter Schiff has to say, shiftgold.com/joy. Also, the Wellness Company, we are so thankful for their sponsorship. PCM Associates, my financial advisor, Dom Polano, is a sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. And of course, our friends over at the Satellite Phone Store. We're going to be talking about them a little later in the program. Everyone's going to need a generator. Everyone is going to need a backup generator because the energy crisis and energy lockdowns are coming. They're going to try it, and we have to be prepared. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, I want to talk to all of you. If you're watching on Substack, YouTube, Twitter, Annie Cyrus is producing the show and keeping an eye on all your comments. I see some of them. I'm going to read them in just a minute, but I do want to say hello to our Rumble chatters. CM1968, I am first today. She says, Trump is doing what he can to save face purposely, and he's making things up when the reality we live in couldn't be further from the truth. Relentless gaslighting every day by this president. It's enough to drive you mad, and that's what he's trying to do. So we have to keep our wits about us, keep our heads on straight, keep calm, and carry on, be prepared, and omit ourselves from this circus. We have Futurez on the live chat. Great to see you. Ralph the Flying Dutchman. Zen Woman is with us today. Great to see you guys on the live chat here on Rumble. Hey, Ollie Robin 9. It's so good to see you as well. Clones is with us. CJP Rumble is with us today on the live chat. And even Laura Loomer is now criticizing Trump's deal with Iran, which we will look at in a moment. Unfortunately, here in the Shannon Joy Show, we've been right about everything. And yeah, mow my lawn. I think that Shannon is disappointed that Trump didn't nuke Iran. Not in the least mow my lawn. I am absolutely glad that Trump didn't drop a nuclear bomb on women and children in Iran. That doesn't take away from pointing out the lunatic that he is and how destabilizing his rhetoric and his actions are to the fabric of this country and the infrastructure of this country. What he is doing, he's plundering. He's destroying American sovereignty, our Constitution, our way of life, our economy, our Declaration of Independence, our everything that makes America American. He is ripping apart. And he's taking that now to the world stage and plundering all the way down. People need to realize this. Ollie Robbins says, hey, take a breath. Certainly. Who else do we have here? Fidgety Guy is with us on the live chat on Rumble. Johnny McCNY is with us today. Wow, silver up over 200. Not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. Let's hit the other live chats as well. I see you guys on YouTube. Great to see you, Liberty2643. Thanks for the reminder of Matthew 6 yesterday. Eyes on Jesus, 100%. We quoted scripture yesterday, Matthew 6, in the face. They're trying to make us anxious. They're trying to evoke anxiety, stress in the American people, frighten us, make us fearful. Because when we're fearful and terrified, we're more easily controlled, and they can do all sorts of terrible things to us. And so the goal here in all of this, in the face of insanity, is to remain sane and to keep your eyes focused on what is true and what is real. For me, of course, it is the words of Jesus Christ. And the scripture on anxiety and not worrying is one of the best out there. And yes, we read that yesterday. You're welcome, Liberty2643. Also on YouTube, Maj Goku, great to see you. Trump says what he means and means what he says. Yet we are expected to interpret statements about destroying a civilization as metaphorical when he blatantly announces war crimes. Very odd to behold. I agree with you on YouTube. Substack, I see you, Arthur. Out of chaos comes order. This is only a 2-week lull, and with Netanyahu, anything can happen to cull the lull. Well, this morning, Israel was bombing Lebanon, and I just got a text from Michael Yon from one of his sources in Israel, and apparently Iran is now bombing Israel. So that was a very short ceasefire. It's just insane. Marge Parker, I have to go somewhere to chill out. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Who else do we have here? Oh, hey, Sharon, I see you on Substack. We are seeing gross insanity. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, just looking at the timeline, we'll go through that in a bit because we're going to look at some of, I mean, one of the big problems, one of the reasons that we are dealing with the Mad King Donald Trump dates back to the day that he came down the golden escalator. And so-called conservatives like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and everyone over at Fox News decided before the primary even happened that Donald Trump was inevitable. And they covered up all of the fatal flaws that were very evident within Donald Trump from the day he came down the escalators. They lied about them to their audiences, and they held Donald Trump up as a king, the only guy who could save Republicans and conservatives from the mean, nasty, libtard leftists, right? And they shoved him down our throats 10 years ago, and then they shoved him down our throats again. The same right-leaning commentators like Laura Loomer, Mark Levin, who are lamenting Trump's Trump's terrible deal with Iran, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, all of them now have buyer's remorse about Donald Trump, but never forget that just 16 months ago, they shoved him down our throats again as inevitable, as the only person in the world who's capable of destroying the libtard lefts who are destroying everything in the United States of America. And they're flip-flopping dramatically. I mean, Megyn Kelly, just a couple days ago on her show, said that she doesn't care if Donald Trump drops a nuke in Iran because the Democrats are going to drop a nuke, rhetorically speaking, on the United States of America. So she couldn't care less. Well, then fast forward 3 days, and Donald Trump puts out a tweet or a post on Truth Social saying he's going to end civilization in Iran and drop a nuke on women and children. And Megyn Kelly takes to the air and she's horrified by the rhetoric of Donald Trump and threatening to nuke women and children in Iran. Well, she just said 3 days ago she didn't care if he did it. So which is it? You know, a lot of the problems that we face today, at least on the right, have to do with paid influencers, pay-to-play commentators, people who pose as pundits and analysts and news people who are actually sycophants for Donald Trump and are likely being paid by his organization or whoever backs him to continually make excuses for him. In the same way that the left is a completely corrupted in terms of news media, they're completely corrupted themselves. They did the same thing for Biden during his presidency. So there's a blockage in terms of information. People can't get good information because so many in media are so completely corrupted. And the same with the parties. So we're really in a jam here in the United States of America. Completely in a jam. Everyone watching today, we need to be more discerning about the people we get information from. And as you know, here on the SJ Show, we only invite independents. We do not tolerate Trump humpers or libtards. we omit all of them. They are not trusted sources here on the Shannon Joy Show. The only people invited into this platform for political analysis or economic analysis are people who are very willing to equally critique both parties, Democrat and Republican. And if they can't do that, they're not going to be on this show. And you guys know this, and this has been consistent for the SJ Show over the past 10 years, and we'll continue to do so. And it's why we're growing. Hey, Brett Freeman, I see you on X. It's great to see you. YouTube, Liberty2643, just found your channel recently. And I'm encouraged to hear a commentator who is awake. Hold the line, Shannon, and hello from Montana. Thank you so much, Liberty. I so appreciate you. I see you, Rusterly, on the live chat here on Rumble. And oh, hey, Mary Beth, Colorado. Great to see you as well. I love seeing new faces on the live chat. All right. So, a little bit of a long rant there, but when we come back, we're going to get into the news of the day. We're going to look at this Ray Dalio piece. We're going to look at the so-called peace deal with Iran. I don't even know why we're going to look at it. It's already being violated as I speak to you today. We live in Crazy Town, USA. We really do. But I want to hear from all of you about all of this and wade through the headlines, because we're going to have our heads on straight if we're going to deal with the craziness over the next 12 to 18 months. So we will continue. We're going to take a quick break. Keep it tuned right here on the SJ Show. And please remember, during the break, if you want to help us grow organically, again, totally independent here at the SJ Show, a thumbs up, a like, a share, a comment, whether it's in the live chat or in the comment section. If you're watching on Twitter right now, we're having a hard time gaining traction on Twitter with the lives. It helps if you retweet this broadcast and also comment on the comment section if you're watching live on Twitter. Let's get this thing going on Twitter. We're doing great on Substack and great on YouTube. Lots of comment over there. We want to continue to grow this platform and do so organically, and that is thanks to all of you. So go ahead, if you think of it in the break, go ahead and help us out there. Also, if you'd like to sign up for the daily e-newsletter, go to theshannonjoy.com. That's theshannonjoy.com. That is my independent website. And if you sign up for the daily e-newsletter, you will never miss an episode of the Shannon Joy Show, because we send you a newsletter every day, and it contains all of my show notes and also the references and resources that I use during my show. So if you're interested in that, please go to theshannonjoy.com right now and sign up for the SJ Daily e-newsletter. Okay, we'll be back in a moment to go through the headlines right here on the SJ Show. Keep it tuned here. But I do want to talk about parasites. So as you know, there's been a big medical hack of 2025. Everyone's talking about parasites. In fact, my husband, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy, was recently talking about parasites as well. It's one of those topics that just has not made its way into the mainstream conversation about why we get sick, right? You go to the doctor and it's either a virus or a bacteria or virus, but you never hear a doctor ever saying, well, maybe it's a parasite, right? So there's a lot of emerging research on this. And one of the best thing that's happened in 2025 was several peer-reviewed studies that identified direct connections between anti-parasitic medications having off-label benefits, fighting a variety of cancers. So this makes a lot of sense. The connection between tumor growth and parasites has been known for years. Now, while currently the CDC remains silent, they have admitted, finally, that millions of Americans are suffering from parasitic infections that often go undetected or undiagnosed. This is why Dr. Peter McCullough, Chief Scientific Officer over at the Wellness Company and the world's most published cardiologist, says, quote, these studies make a clear case to do at least one medical grade parasite cleanse every single year. And the TWC parasite cleanse is the real deal. This is not your mother's cleanse. This is not some supplement. This is an amazing product. It is the Wellness Company's proprietary USA compounded ivermectin plus mebendazole. It is a doctor-prescribed gold standard combination dose, and it's designed to help the body eliminate parasites plus a lot of other incredible benefits. Each bottle contains 90 capsules, and it's enough to complete a 21-day cleanse. So the formula cannot be found at your local pharmacy. There's no equivalent out there. But the Wellness Company removes all of that red tape by making the process fully digital. So all you have to do is fill out a quick intake form. A doctor will review the form, and your medical grade parasite cleanse will arrive to you within a week. So this is a once a year cleanse. It is worth every penny, and it's time for people to get healthy and pay attention to the parasites. So head to twc.health/joy right now. twc.health/joy. That is my landing page. If you use the promo code JOY, that's JOY, they're going to take $60 off your parasite cleanse. Plus, they're going to give you free shipping. That is only at twc.health/joy. That is twc.health/joy. Annie has popped up the QR code in the corner of the screen. You can click on that or just hover your phone over it to go right to my site and enjoy a very special gift for the SJ audience, $60 off plus free shipping on every order when you use the Joy promo code. And by the way, use the Joy promo code every time you shop at TWC. If you're already plugged in, you're already using some of their products, make sure you use that JOY code so they know I sent you. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Before we get into the news of the day, I do want to quickly talk to you all about Rumble Wallet. So as we move forward in instability in the United States of America, financial instability, economic chaos, you never know what they're going to try to do. And we know that governments through banks will try to control their populations through their bank accounts. And we saw this with the truckers in Canada and so many of the medical freedom fighters in the dark days of 2020, 21, and 22, who had their bank accounts frozen, which is insane. So we know that the big banks can cancel our accounts, they can freeze our cards, they can decide what we're allowed to buy or sell or say or support. And these big banks and financial institutions have a lot of control. They use it. And this is why, as you know, financial independence matters more than ever. So Rumble is introducing Rumble Wallet. It's a wallet built for real freedom. And with Rumble Wallet, you can control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a company. You can buy digital assets in one secure place. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the commentators and the creators that you like the Shannon Joy Show, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip us securely, instantly, and without any interference. So this isn't a credit line that they can use to shut off. It's your wallet and it's permanent. So this is how you can protect your future and your family. And when the systems fail, when the institutions turn on their own people, you know that financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. So Rumble Wallet is not about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what is yours. So you can take control today by downloading Rumble Wallet now and stepping away from the big banks for good. You'll have true ownership, true protection, and true financial freedom. And Annie's going to pop up that, I believe there's a promo code or there's a, I think there is a, yeah, I think there's a link that you guys can pop up in the live chat, which is a downloadable link for the Rumble Wallet. And we'll pop that up so that you guys can use it. There might also be a QR code as well. So if you're interested in the Rumble Wallet, go for it. So let's go back to the live chat. I see you, Mr. Worthless Eater. I see you, Ralph the Flying Dutchman and Fidgety Guy. Mary Beth, Colorado. Great to see you as well. Of course, we are broadcasting live on Substack and on X, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. If you have comments there, let us know. So let's just take a stroll through Trump's crazy town USA, shall we? Over the past 6 weeks. It was late February, I want to say February 27th or 28th, when Donald Trump decided to take us to World War III with Iran. This is the guy who promised throughout the campaign trail that he would never get us in to another war, that he would end endless wars. Well, instead, we have endless war forever and ever and ever through Donald Trump. Complete betrayal, complete rug pull. And this is why the majority of his base is fleeing. And we're looking at MAGA crack apart. Maha is about to emancipate from Donald Trump. And I think we're seeing that, interestingly enough, just on a side note. Robert Malone left ASIP. He was working within HHS under Robert Kennedy Jr. up until a couple weeks ago. He left and is now making the rounds on all of the medical freedom podcasts and independent podcasts, basically spilling the beans, saying that the Trump administration is sabotaging Robert Kennedy Jr. and the mission of Maha and medical freedom advocates. So it's Trump It's Susie Wiles. It's members of Trump's administration. It's his connections to massive pharmaceutical corporations that are sabotaging all of their efforts over at HHS. And Bob Malone, as we know, he's a hatchet man. That's his job. And so right now, it's, he's kind of paving the way. I would not be surprised if we didn't see potentially Robert Kennedy Jr. stepping down or being fired in the next 4 to 6 months, because word on the street is that it's over. It's over. They are rug pulling everything that Robert Kennedy Jr. accomplished, the adjustments to the childhood vaccine schedule, some of the attempts to investigate vaccine injury, among other things, attempts to look at pharmaceutical liability protection. All of that has been completely rug pulled or has been overturned by judges. And the Trump administration has no intention whatsoever of helping them achieve any of those goals. So I think that we're going to see that fall apart. So we're watching the entire coalition that got Donald Trump elected completely shattering. MAGA and MAHA, I think, is on the horizon. Interestingly enough, Donald Trump doesn't seem worried about this at all. Doesn't seem worried about his polling numbers. Doesn't seem, and they're in the toilet. I mean, his handling of the war, his handling of the economy, we're looking at mid 60s in terms of disapproval on platforms like Fox News. Even Fox News polls are now tanking for Donald Trump. Laura Loomer tweeting out against Trump today. Mark Levin tweeting out against Trump today. They were some of the stalwarts, the people who held on the longest. And of course, we have, Tucker Carlson and a whole host of other Trump supporters who have already bailed. Marjorie Taylor Greene, obviously Tom Massey. So the entire apparatus is falling apart. There's no way in a legitimate election like the midterms coming up in 26 that Trump is going to have any play whatsoever. And it's going to be a bloodbath for Republicans, period. There's no turning this around. There's no turning this around. In fact, the pain that we're going to experience in the United States of America based on just the existing closure of the Strait of Hormuz and other very critical routes that bring resources to the United States of America. I mean, we're going to be suffering for the next 2 years economically because of what they have done over the past 6 weeks. So this is a disaster. The economy is not getting better. The only thing the Trump administration will do is print more money. And they're going to print and print and print. That is going to send inflation skyrocketing. So the $5 loaf of bread that you bought today is going to be $10 in 4 months and maybe $15 in 6 months. And that's not going to stop. It cannot stop. So they're moving us towards something, some type of crisis or event. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? But they're laying the groundwork for it. So unless Trump steals the election, declares an emergency, and sends ICE and the military to steal the elections, I don't see his coalition surviving. But again, we're dealing with Mad King Trump, and we don't know what to expect. And I'll tell you what, he's doing a pretty crappy job abroad in terms of waging a war. But in terms of militarizing the interior of the United States of America and sending his own personal military Gestapo in the form of ICE to places like Minneapolis, Minnesota, every United States airport, and maybe every United States election center or polling center, in that area, the militarization is happening. So we don't know what's going to happen. And again, we don't know who's pulling the strings. Who is controlling Donald Trump? Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, royal families with bloodlines going back 300 years, 3,000 years, who knows? I certainly don't know. I just know that this guy, what the front-facing Trump is not what he seems. And you all understand this as well. And so it's Crazy Town USA. Absolutely crazy. January 18th. And this is what the diehard MAGA cultists would say is brilliant negotiation. Dave Rubin, this was annoying last night. This was so annoying last night. Before I get to this timeline, just so that we can fully understand how crazy this president is and how crazy the news is and how crazy the world is today. We're going to go through this timeline. But Dave Rubin, yesterday, there was a period of like 1, 2, 3 hours where every MAGA cultist and Trump humper on the face of the planet took to Twitter to gloat and rub in the faces of people like me, the panicans, they call us, right? Because we're panicking over Trump dropping a nuclear bomb on women and children in Iran. Now, we don't panic here on the Shannon Joy Show. You guys know that. We keep calm and carry on. But we're just reporting the headlines, reporting insane social media posts and tweets from Trump is not panicking. It is verbatim delivering to our audiences what this man is saying. But, people like Dave Rubin, and it was, Jack Posobiec, the grand deal is here. Gunther Engelman, he's the deal maker of the century, right? Pete Hegseth, he's the deal maker in chief. All of them took to Twitter to gloat about the peace deal that Trump secured with Iran last night, which is already over this morning. Okay. It was, a grand total of 3 or 4 hours that we actually had a peace deal. And then it became very evident to everyone that Iran had actually won this. And we're going to look at, the fact that these people tried to pass this off as a victory for MAGA and Trump is insane. When you look at Iran's statement, when you look at the actual deal, it's insane. And we were right about it. I was right last night. I was right 6 months ago. We were right 10 months ago. I don't know how often we have to be right for these people to get it. But so many people with really big platforms get it wrong every single day. And they get it wrong in a spectacular fashion. Yet they're platformed. They have big platforms on Twitter, big platforms on Rumble, big platforms on Fox News, and all of the right-leaning organizations. It's crazy. This is what Dave Rubin had to say last night. Which panican wants to hand me my I told you so award from Dave Rubin? Trump has been running the same negotiation. He calls this negotiation playbook forever. Pressure, escalation, chaos, then leverage a deal. A deal for him, Dave Rubin. All right, because there are already reports now of pump and dumps and insider trading based on Trump's tweets. So every time Trump leverages a deal, he stuffs $1 billion in the pockets of his sons and his daughter and his son-in-law and his cronies. Like, this is so blatant and disgusting. And the fact that these people would call it leveraging a deal on behalf of the American people is insane. He's like, this wasn't complicated. It was basic pattern recognition. Now we move on to phase 2. This is Dave Rubin yesterday. Iran is largely neutralized, he said. Oh, really? The strait is reopening. Oh, really? The war is de-escalating. Oh, really? And the markets are already reacting. Yeah, the war is de-escalating. Bombs in Lebanon and bombs in Israel. 8 hours after he posted this. This is insane. The world is safer today than it was yesterday, said Dave Rubin. Has he deleted this tweet yet? I hope he has. These are the people that get platforms. They get it so wrong every time. He said it's about to get even safer over the next few months as this locks in. It's already unlocked. It's done. It's over. And let's be very clear about this, says Dave Rubin. This happened because of Donald Trump, not the pundits, not the podcasters, and not the panic merchants. This happened because of Trump. And he says global stability is improving. We can refocus on this and that. Yeah, not happening. But these are the people: Jack Posobiec, Gunther Engelman, Dave Rubin, Cat Turd, Brendan Dilley, Laura Loomer, Mark Levin. As I mentioned, Loomer and Levin are already off the Trump train today. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. I see you, Dino Fun. On YouTube, Sharon says Trump has sold out to all. Indeed, he has. And yeah, the Epstein files are off the headlines, right? This has a lot of benefits, actually. The chaos, the gaslighting, the lie upon lie upon lie, keeping us unsteady and peddling instability in the U.S. has all sorts of benefits for the crook in chief, Donald Trump, as he lines his pockets. In addition to keeping, listen, Trump was in the Epstein files how many thousands of times? Best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 10 years. It's just crazy. Absolute predators in Washington, D.C. They're so bad. But, this is the timeline. these Trump sycophants would like to convince their audiences that this is 12-dimensional chess and brilliant master negotiating, the art of the deal. This is just a snippet of what we have had to deal with here in the United States of America as we take a little stroll through Trump's crazy town USA over the past 8 weeks. On January 18, and hat tip to DD Geopolitics, who took the time to grab the quotes, attach them to dates in this post that he pushed out a couple days ago. The handle there is at DD_geopolitics. This is the Trump timeline, right? January 18th, Trump says, Iranian patriots, we are coming to help you. We're going to emancipate you and set you free from those evil mullahs, right? We are moving in. On February 28th, this is Trump, and I quote, we are launching the decisive operation. It will be very fast, very fast. On March 2nd, quote, we will win easily, says Trump. On March 3rd, we have won the war, said Trump. On March 7th, we have defeated Iran. That's a quote from Donald Trump. On March 9th, strike Iran. The war is almost over. Clean and decisive, said Donald Trump. March 12th, we have won, but not completely yet. Oh, okay. March 13th, we have won the war again. We won it a second time. We've already won 3 times. On March 13th, we won again. March 14th, we need help to open the Strait. Strait of Hormuz, here we go. March 15th, if you don't open the Strait of Hormuz, I'm going to remember it. March 16th, he says, we don't need any help opening the Strait of Hormuz. I was just testing your loyalty. If NATO doesn't help, consequences will follow. Well, NATO ran for the exits. No one helped. So on March 17th, this is the quote from Trump. We don't need NATO to help, and I don't want it. No Congress approval needed to exit NATO. On March 18th, Donald Trump said this, allies must cooperate to open the Strait of Hormuz. On March 19th, U.S. allies must step up and help open the Strait of Hormuz. And once again, no thank you, see you later, find the exits. No one's coming to help you, Donald Trump. March 20th, NATO is cowardly, says Donald Trump. We may phase this out, like we have the power to phase it out at this point. We are so diminished in this country, it's ridiculous. March 21st, we don't even need the Strait, says Donald Trump. We don't even use it. Others need it. Others need to use it, not us. March 22nd, this is my final warning, said Donald Trump. Iran has 48 hours. Iran is finished. March 23rd, day later, 1 more week, and then we bomb their plants, the power plants. March 25th, the war is nearing its end. Okay, all right. March 25th, we're negotiating with Iran, says the liar and grifter and gaslighter in chief, Donald Trump. March 26th, Iran is begging for peace. They gave us a gift. We delay strikes on power plants, right? March 27th, I and the Ayatollah will jointly manage the Strait of Hormuz, says Donald Trump. March 29th, negotiations with Iran are going extremely well. Another lie. March 30th, we are prepared to destroy Iran's oil and energy infrastructure and occupy Karg Island, said Donald Trump. These are all quotes. March 31st, we are ready to end the war without opening the Strait. Okay. April 1st, the war ends in 3 days. Then we will bomb them for 2 to 3 weeks back into the Stone Age. April 2nd, we destroyed 3 major bridges. Why haven't they called us yet? April 6th, and this is mine, open the effing Strait, you crazy bastards. April 7th, total civilizational annihilation. We're going to bomb the hell out of you, men, women, and children. And April 8th, just kidding, we have a deal. And then today, we don't have a deal, actually. We have part of a deal. I was told we have a deal, but we're still working on the deal, okay? This is not negotiation. This is not art of the deal. This is not any semblance of sanity. This isn't diplomacy. This isn't pursuing geopolitical leverage. This isn't even waging a war. This is insanity. This is insanity. And the longer that we take this man seriously and report seriously on what he's doing, the crazier it's going to get. I am not against 25th Amendmenting this guy because this is not sane. It's Trump in a nutshell, and it is the Trump doctrine. And the Trump doctrine is lie upon lie upon lie until you die, gaslight hourly, daily, every day, 24/7, instability, chaos, insecurity, while he pumps and dumps all the way down and does the bidding of the New World Order in the fog of war. He creates a maddening situation that no one can analyze. No analyst can sit in front of a microphone, myself included, and with a straight face try to analyze what this president is doing. Because his purpose, what he's doing, is sowing chaos. That's his role. That's it. There's nothing more. And there's never, ever been anything more to Donald Trump. Ever. It's all about him, his grift, his family, his money, his cronies, engaging in predatory actions and taking what he wants. He's an evil, evil player, an evil bastard. And it's time more and more Americans understand this, especially on the evangelical right, Christian right. Those of you who say you have morals and ethics, that you're Christians, come on, guys. Come on. All right, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, I want to hear from all of you on the live chat. I see things that are heating up on Substack and on the live chat here on Rumble. So I'm going to take your questions and your comments, and we're going to look at the nature of this deal. It is, why even look at it? Everyone's violating it anyway. I don't even know why I try. I give up. Analyzing the news is like playing chess with Bobby Fischer. Like I just can't, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right, we'll hit the headlines when we come back. We'll look at this deal, and I'll get comments and questions from all of you. Keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute on The Shannon Joy Show. Please head over to theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. This is my independent platform. It is my website. I own it. And the email list that I have created with all of you, those of you who have signed up for the Shannon Joy daily email, it is so important. It's the most critical element in terms of my connection to all of you. Should I be deplatformed on YouTube or Twitter or Rumble or any of the platforms that we are pushed out on today, it is my one line to all of you. It's where I can contact you directly and let you know where to find the show. I will never forget the censorship of 2020. I was permanently suspended on Twitter. I was completely shadow banned on Facebook. I lost the entirety of both audiences in the span of 30 days. In the early days of the Shannon Joy Show, I was completely yanked off of a radio station because I continued to critique Donald Trump, and it was a right-wing radio station. Overnight, I lost my entire platform. Thank God 10 years ago, or was 8 years ago, I had built up a presence on Twitter and Facebook and was able to continue the show until I moved it to another platform, a 50,000 watt radio station just down the road. But I am very familiar with being deplatformed and it happening very fast. That email list is everything. It is my pipeline to all of you. So if you haven't signed up for the SJ email list, please do so today. Go to theshannonjoy.com. That is theshannonjoy.com, and make sure that we're connected at 123.com/joy. Everything that you're going to need for preparation: generators, solar panels, Faraday products. If you want to disappear and protect yourself from the surveillance state, they have an entire line of amazing Faraday products called Dark Bags. They're always 10% off at the satellite phone store if you go to sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. The satellite phone store has supported the Shannon Joy Show for many years. They are amazing partners, and let's help the companies that help keep the lights on here at the Shannon Joy Show. So if you are in the market for any of their products or services, make sure you use that promo code JOY and go to sat123.com/joy. That's sat123.com/joy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Lots of comments on Substack and YouTube, also on the live chat on Rumble. Hi, Frito Lazy. Good to see you on Rumble. Mark the Regan. Wow, Shannon mentions Bobby Fischer. I shouldn't have mentioned Bobby Fischer because he was a genius and he actually played chess. Um, you know, Analyzing the news. What is analyzing the news like? It's crazy town. I don't like. It's hard to take these people even seriously. They lie about everything. They lie about everything. And Annie just told me in the break. It's now being reported that in the ceasefire, the peace deal that has been negotiated, Iran will control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran will charge anyone who wants to come through the Strait of Hormuz, whatever they want to charge them. Of course, it's going to be in Bitcoin. It's unclear whether or not it's mandated that it's Bitcoin, but I find that to be really interesting because that would indicate that Iranian leadership is all plugged into the new world order, the global technocratic police surveillance state, if they're going to demand Bitcoin. And the United States gets a little cut of it, right? Like this is the big, beautiful deal that Donald Trump somehow negotiated with the Iranians. Complete BS. Complete BS. Yeah, Bobby Fischer was an American chess prodigy and the 11th world chess champion. He learned to play at age 6. Yes, he was brilliant. I shouldn't have mentioned Bobby Fischer. That was like the wrong analogy because he's actually smart. This is the statement from Iran, and this is why Laura Loomer and Mark Levin are not happy. By the way, I do have this had from BBC just hours after, the peace deal. The Israeli military has carried out a large wave of airstrikes across Lebanon, with reports of a high number of casualties across the country, hospitals overwhelmed, people believed to be under the rubble of collapsed buildings. This happened hours after the office of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denied the assertion by Pakistan, which helped mediate a ceasefire between U.S. and Iran, that the deal also covered the devastating conflict here. So there is a dispute as to whether the deal between the U.S. and Iran actually includes Israel. Bibi says no, so he's going to drop bombs on Lebanon. Great. Just great. And as I mentioned, Michael Yan just texted me that bombs are dropping on Israel now too. So yeah, that's where we're at. This is the Iranian statement. Again, Trump comes out, greatest deal of the world of the year. He decided not to nuke the women and children in Iran, and he crafted this superior deal. He negotiated, Trump negotiation with Iran, and it's supposedly really good for the U.S. It's not good for the U.S., but this is what the Iranians had to say about this. This is a statement from Iran's Supreme National Security Council. And they've also included here a 10-point peace plan that they said Trump agreed to. Congratulations, everyone. We, Iran, has achieved a great victory and forced criminal America to accept its own 10-point plan, in which America has in principle committed to, guaranteeing non-aggression, continued Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. That is not a win for America, guys. Period. In fact, this is going to have wide scale implications for the next 20 years. I mean, this is a changing in the world order, which is what Ray Dalio wrote about in the piece that I have linked to the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. The big thing, we are in a world war that isn't going to end anytime soon. And I would say that I believe the war began actually in the spring of 2020 with the fake pandemic and the lockdowns of nearly every Western democracy across the globe. From my perspective, that was when the world war started. And it's a war against nation states, their leaders, against we the people. It is the leadership in China, the leadership in Russia, the leadership in Iran against their own people. It's the leadership in America, leadership in UK, leadership in France and in Canada and in the Netherlands against their own people. It's governments waging war against their own people and working together to craft a global order in which they own everything. They divvy up the world. They take everything. They tokenize all of us. They collapse our currencies. They destroy our way of life. And they usher us into the new world order. You own nothing. Nothing. Klaus Schwab laid it out. And Donald Trump and apparently the Iranian government and the Chinese government and all of the governments, as they pretend to wage war with one another, are actually waging war against us. This is what we have to understand and figure out in our own countries. And forget about all the things that they're doing, because we have to fortify our own supply lines, our own communities, our own families. We have to be able to barter and trade, buy and sell, feed ourselves. This is why local infrastructure is so important. This is why this is all I've been talking about for 10 years. I digress. So Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. This is, again, not a win. Acceptance of enrichment removal of all programs and secondary sanctions. Okay? Termination of all UN Security Council and Board of Governors resolutions. Payment of reparations to Iran. Withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region, and cessation of the war on all fronts, including against the heroic Islamic resistance in Lebanon. So Lebanon is referenced here in this statement from Iran's Supreme National Security Council. We congratulate all of the people of Iran on this victory over the United States of America and Donald Trump. This is what Dave Rubin and Jack Posobiec and Trump's cabinet and all of the MAGA Trump humpers on social media last night hailed as a great victory and masterful negotiation from the clown in chief, Donald Trump. Insane. And this is the 10-point peace plan. We have to guarantee that Iran will never be attacked again. Again, permanent end to the war, not just a ceasefire, which is already violated. End to Israeli strikes in Lebanon, already violated. Limiting of all U.S. sanctions in Iran. They get to continue to enrich uranium or restart that. Iran will impose a $2 million fee per ship transiting Hormuz. Iran will split the fees with Oman. They will establish the rules for safe passage through Hormuz. Iran will use the Strait of Hormuz fees for reconstruction instead of reparations. Yeah, this is a huge defeat. This is why, Catherine Austin Fitts, I'm going to read her statement again. After failing on a covert regime change operation, the U.S. has started a conventional war intended to be short. I don't know if it was intended to be short, to be honest, but essentially got its head handed to it at great financial expense and tremendous damage to relationships with allies around the world. We saw, Trump's engagement with NATO. I don't like NATO, but she says the result is to significantly increase the status of China, Iran, and Russia in superpower geopolitics. This is one of the most spectacular failures of U.S. leadership in history of in the history of the country, says Catherine Austin Fitts. And anyone that you are watching today on Twitter, Fox News, Rumble, OANN, Newsmax, any of the Trump humping media channels telling you that this is a victory, they are lying to you. They are lying to your face, and I would say they know it. So the failure is planned, I believe. Dino Fun, was it a failure or was it planned? I think it's planned. I mean, listen, if we're going to go like a little higher, if we're going to do 800 level geopolitics, my sentiment regarding this is that they're fake fighting, that it's not real. In the same way that in New York State, the Democrats and Republicans have a power sharing arrangement. Democrats get to run everything. Republicans get a bunch of lucrative contracts for their businesses, and they all get rich and fleece the New York taxpayers. Well, that plays out in Washington, D.C. as well with Democrats and Republicans. So they divide us. They use political footballs and fake fighting to divide Americans left and right and have us fearful of one another, right? Well, they arrange, again, in a power sharing arrangement. Democrat for 4 years and a Republican for 4 years, and another Democrat for 4 years and another Republican for 4 years, for the next 4 years. And they all do the same things. They write the same bills. They pass the same bills. They print the same amount of money. They create inflation. They suppress our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, and they do it over and over and over and over. So this has been the story of the United States of America and politics for the past 60 years. From my perspective, there's no reason that we couldn't expand that out on a global stage. Why would they engage in real wars and kinetic wars when they can fake the wars, frighten us, fleece us. Sure, they'll kill a few million people, maybe hundreds of millions of people. They don't really care as long as they get to arrange and carve up the world in a way that they see fit and shape it to their own heart's desires, right? Do they want to negotiate with democracies? Do they want to deal with elections? They don't want to deal with elections and citizens and we the people. They would much rather deal with each other and split things up. Now, our only hope really is that they annihilate each other and that we are not in the theaters of war that they choose to engage in. But at the same time, I think that there is a real chance that Iran, the leadership in Iran, that the new government has already been chosen, that they did the backroom deals, I don't know, 12 months ago, 18 months ago. They chose the new regime, they installed the new regime, and they knew this was coming. And now all they have to do is pitch it to their people and tell them it's a great thing and that we won or they won, whatever. I don't know why this is such a conspiratorial. I mean, people would say, "Oh, you're such a conspiracy theorist, Shannon." And I would say, one man's conspiracy is another man's 5-year plan. I mean, a conspiracy is just two people in a room or more, maybe three, making a deal. It's not something that is beyond the realm of imagination that they would say, "Hey, let's lay out, let's run a campaign." So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't know. I'm not in their meetings. Okay, we're not privy to their backroom deals. So we don't know. We can only deal with what we're witnessing. And what we're witnessing is just crazy town. So we have some comments on Substack and on YouTube. Michael Bobby, I see you on X. Yes. Oh, he thinks that the Thomas Massie Epstein release was a blackmail operation on Trump to get him into the Iran war, which is a cover for 2.0, for COVID 2.0 energy, etc. I don't know about that. I think that Trump would be very interested in making sure that the Epstein files are not released, mainly because he's implicated in them and all of his cronies are implicated in them. And they kind of lay bare like how these global movers and shakers, the banksters and the royal families and the massive corporations, it lays bare how they really profit off of every type of chaos, every type of crisis, whether it's a pandemic, an energy lockdown or an energy crisis, a crypto, not a crypto, but a cyber attack or a kinetic war. Pat 1254 is with us on the live chat on Rumble. I see you, Pat. So yeah, this is not a good deal. And I don't even know why I went through it because it's off the table anyway. It's over. I mean, I don't know what sure. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have a new statement from Trump. Okay. What do we have here from Donald Trump? The United States will work closely with Iran, which we have determined has gone through, I can't really see this, what will be a very productive regime change. Trust me, bro. The Iranians have engaged now in a really productive regime change. They say there will be no enrichment of uranium, and the United States will, working with Iran, dig up and remove all of the deeply buried B-2 bombers and nuclear whatever, blah, blah, blah. This is insane. This is insane. Why even read this? Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, tariffs and sanction relief for Iran. All righty then. So this was much ado about night. Insane. 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 You guys have any ideas? I mean, how do we get ourselves out of this pickle? I just the only thing that I can hold to is the market. Is despite everything, I mean, there is I will say this. I will say this. As I have been I mean, again, as you guys know, fire hose to the face as Trump, starting on Sunday, threatens nuclear annihilation, World War III, all the things. And so, unfortunately, I'm a analyst, political analyst. I provide commentary every day, and I have to come on the air and say things about this. So I have to like dive in and pay attention to this, and it makes me stressed out, and I have all kinds of angst. I will tell you, no one in the US, like we had friends over on Monday. My 19-year-old son is home from college visiting for spring break, obviously devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy. And the kids were home last spring break. And so we're having like a lot of family time, and like no one really cares about any of this. Like no one's really paying attention to all of this. It's like nuclear bombs are going to drop in Iran, and we're all like, well, I guess nuclear bombs are going to drop. What are we having for dinner? What are we watching on TV tonight? Like, in a weird way, it makes me feel so much better that regular normie Americans are tuning out of this, because frankly, they should be tuning out of this. We should be figuring out how to build up and establish our bonds within our communities and in our families. We have to, figure out ways to extricate ourselves from the two-party political lie that is politics in the United States of America. And I think just, the idea that Americans are seeing this but not letting it penetrate their spirit is a really good thing. It's like 30% of the population that is actually like dialed in. Like we're crazy. Anyone on Twitter is crazy. Twitter is so controlled. It's like full-scale propaganda. And again, Mark Regan, as I said, local, local, local. This is why I want to run for lieutenant governor in New York State, which, by the way, I'll be making an announcement pretty soon. Because I want to get out and see people again. You guys know that I'm obsessed with this, like face to face, what's real, what is human. And I'm just sick of everyone saying that we can't do it, that local doesn't matter, that everything's too corrupt. New York State is too corrupt. We can never win an election. The elections are all rigged. I think, yeah, the midterms, national elections are probably the most rigged. But there's still stuff that we can do locally. And even if we can't win an election here in New York State, just the act of going out and talking to people and that energy that happens when you're in a room together with people and you're answering their questions, or they're giving some commentary, or you're hearing what their story is. The building of an infrastructure, an email list, an organization, a coalition of Democrats and Republicans, independents, libertarians, blank note parties, whoever it is, to reassert our power and our dominance as civilians and citizens of the United States of America, and reassert our sovereignty and our humanity. Like, we have to do that. To me, that's the only thing we can do over the next 18 months. And that's kind of why I'm more and more open to the idea of joining Larry Sharpe, who is running for governor of the United States or for governor of New York State on the Libertarian ticket line. He's asked me to be his lieutenant governor and run with him. And that's kind of why I want to do it, right? Regardless of whether we win or lose, I just want to get out and talk to people again. I want to be real and normal again. These people are crazy, all of them. Anyone tethered to Washington, D.C., they're batshit crazy. Crazy. You can't believe anything they say. And that goes for all of the commentators and the people who are providing commentary from the left or the right. They're liars. They're liars. They lie over and over again. They gaslight. They're hypocrites. Every one of them. And I've been watching them for 10 years. And I'm just so sick of it. I'm so glad I never made it onto Fox News or Newsmax or The Blaze or Daily Wire or any of those so-called Christian conservative or conservative leaning outlets. I'm so glad that every one of those doors were closed to me, slammed right in my face, because I was independent and I told the truth. I'm so glad I did that. And it's been a lonely 12 years, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Any other way. And tomorrow I have Dr. Kelly Victory on the show. And again, even like the market. Forget about politics. Forget about polling. Forget about the midterms. The market. What's the market doing? And I interviewed Kelly yesterday, and we're going to run that interview tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show. An amazing medical freedom warrior. And we talked about two big headlines. BioNTech and Pfizer shutting down clinical trials for COVID shots because they can't get enough participants. Uptake of the COVID shots at single digits. 90+% of Americans refusing to take COVID shots, even though they're being heavily marketed and pushed on the American population. They are shutting down manufacturing plants in Singapore for COVID shots because no one is taking them. That's the market. The market is a tsunami. It's a tidal wave. And it doesn't matter how often they lie to us and how much they try to gaslight us. When we ignore them, when we refuse to comply, when we withdraw our consent, I will not vote in a federal election. I'm boycotting the midterms and I'm boycotting the next presidential election because they're rigged, they're fake, and they give us false choices. That doesn't mean we don't activate and organize at the local level and maybe the state level. But what they're doing in Washington, D.C. is disgusting. They're disgusting. They're evil. They're wicked. They're depraved, all of them. All of them. And the people there who are making millions of dollars on government contracts, sidling up to people in positions of power, you're just as complicit. Just as complicit. We need to walk away from all of it in Washington, D.C. and hunker down from the bottom up. And honestly, that's the only solution that I see at this point. I don't see some hero. I mean, where are the angels? There are no angels in Washington, D.C. And if you get to Washington, D.C., you've had to probably do some pretty nasty things in order to get there. Even if you started out as virtuous and with all the right intentions, the only way to maneuver through the political process in either of these two political parties is to sell your soul to the devil. And that's what they've done. So it doesn't matter if you, most of them, I think there are a precious few. Tom Massie might be one of them that are able to do this the right way in Washington, D.C. But we don't have enough Thomas Massies, frankly. And well, you know, I love that he's doing it though, because he is really bringing a lot of awareness and attention to certain issues, which is good on the national level. And so, you know, maybe there's some benefit in that. And by the way, if I were in Kentucky, I would be voting for him. So that might be one election I would vote in. But other than that, no way. No midterms for me. I'm in New York State, and absolutely no presidential elections. And even if Thomas Massie runs for president, I'm not voting in a presidential election, even though I think he's great. I'll wish him all the best. I'm not doing it because you cannot get to the presidency without selling your soul to the devil. I'm convinced of it. And until I'm convinced that the electoral process at the national level is not rigged and they aren't giving us false choices and they aren't requiring our presidents and our presidential candidates to sell their souls to the devil in order to get there, I'm not going to engage, period. And I don't think you should either, but you can decide for yourself. Sandy Lou 58 has this to say. There are no angels. Oh, she says there are angels, just not the right ones. No, I don't think there are any angels. I mean, anytime we put our hope and our trust and our belief into human man-made institutions, any institutions whatsoever, that's the first mistake. Like, we're all flawed, even myself included. I mean, if I'm going to do this lieutenant governor thing, please do not put your hope and trust in me to do anything great. I mean, I'll do what I can, but we're all flawed. We're all flawed. We have to put our trust and our faith and our hope in God, in the creator of the universe, and hopefully be obedient to him. And I believe that. But there are things that we can do in our lifetime. Hey, Bill Benz, I see you on the live chat. We have a couple minutes left, and then we're going to wrap up the show. So any more comments or questions? Sandy Lou 58, does anyone know where Steve Deace stands on all of this? To my knowledge, Steve Deace is still completely Trump humping. And, you know, he's free to do that. It's why I'm not on his show anymore and why he's not on my show. We went in different directions there, and he's free to go in any direction that he wants. I feel bad for people who have to carry water for this president. I feel very bad for people who have to twist themselves into pretzels to follow this president and the logic of this president and the crazy town USA that he is subjecting us to. So again, when I say I'm so thankful I have a small platform, it's like the perfect size platform. All of you, it's perfect. I don't want it to be any bigger. I don't want to go any bigger. I'm so glad I'm not on any of these big networks, because that would necessarily require me to not tell the full truth about what I see happening, and I just won't do that. Not worth it. I'll give up the mic before I do that. I will go back to beauty school and open a salon and cut people's hair or do something. I'm just not like the day that I have to come in front of this microphone and lie to you guys, it's not happening. I'll shut the whole operation down. Future as Shannon, what is your thought on Tulsi Gabbard? I think that Tulsi Gabbard is part of the NWO. I think that she's fake. I think she's a player. She's an actor, and I don't know why. I don't remember why. Honestly, I haven't reported a whole lot on Tulsi Gabbard, but there are a few things that she did at certain moments in time that compelled me to eliminate her from my list of trusted voices. And my list of trusted voices is very, very tight and very small. And so I don't remember what it is, but I'm pretty sure, from my perspective, she's playing a game, just like Pam Bondi and Hegseth and Bongino and all of the other members of Trump's cabinet. You don't get to be a member of Trump's cabinet unless you have pledged full fealty to not only Donald Trump, but also the new world order that he works for, right? And so all of them, I don't see a single good person within his cabinet. And frankly, I differ from other people in the medical freedom community. I'm very disappointed in Bobby Kennedy Jr. as well. I don't think that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is a good person right now. I think he took the power, he took the money, and I think he sold out, personally. Just my opinion. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Again, I'm not in the back rooms. I don't see the deals. I don't see the money exchanged. I don't see the power exchanged. I don't see, the quid pro quo, so to speak, when it comes to joining the Trump administration as a member of his cabinet. I would just say I don't trust any of them. So we have Annie, thank you. Donald Trump said in an interview with the New York Post, oh, interesting, that JD Vance may not attend talks with Iran due to security concerns. The talks are expected to take place in Pakistan following the recent ceasefire, with figures like Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner possibly involved. So the vice president of the United States of America, persona non grata for security talks with Iran, but Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, in no official capacity, who stands to benefit financially, who has already benefited financially from the grift of this administration to the tune of billions of dollars, no official capacity in the U.S. is going to engage in diplomacy and negotiating a ceasefire with Iran. Insane, unconstitutional. It's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to all of you. Is Steve Witkoff even a member of Trump's cabinet, or is he in any kind of official position within the government? I don't know. Who is Steve Witkoff? I forget. Someone tell me. I can't keep track of all these people. Oh, he's a special envoy. Okay, he's a special envoy. All right, so he is. But Jared Kushner is not. Or am I wrong? Did Donald Trump bestow? Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, I don't know. Why is JD Vance a security concern? What do you think, Annie? I'm talking to Annie right now, my producer. Oh, rumor, word on the street is that JD Vance is the leaker. That'd be interesting. JD Vance is the technocracy's backup plan for Donald Trump. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Sandy Lou 58, I haven't been on this chat in a long while, but have always listened. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too, Sandy Lou. Appreciate you, Shannon, and everyone here. Crazy times. Scott on Substack. Can we get a Rick and Morty episode to help me sort all of this out, please? Oh my gosh, Sandy Lou 58 for a $20 tip. Thank you so much. I appreciate you on the live chat. Sandy Lou gifting us 20 bucks. That is so, so appreciated, Sandy. You're awesome. Buskman, I see you on the live chat. Yes, Mod Trend, that was it. Gabbard was trained up in the WEF, that's the World Economic Forum, and she, I believe, was one of the young leaders. So one of the groomed leaders in the World Economic Forum that they trained for positions of power in the 21st century. So that was probably my first indication that Tulsi Gabbard was not who she claimed to be. LT Oracle of Truth, Shannon, will you still do this show while campaigning? LT Oracle of Truth, absolutely. I will be doing this show while campaigning. Larry is going to be doing a lot of the campaigning, but I do look forward to getting out across New York State over the next, what is it? We're in April. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So we got about 8 months. And I am super excited to like get out and travel downstate, upstate, central New York, the Finger Lakes region, you name it, and talk to people. And that should not impact the show at all. In fact, I could likely still do the show even if Larry Sharpe were to win the governorship and I was in the official capacity as lieutenant governor. I don't believe that I have to live in Albany. I know that I don't have to live in Albany for that position. And, we'd have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's exciting, very exciting. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us today on the Shannon Joy Show. Thank you to Annie for producing the Shannon Joy Show. I absolutely appreciate you, Annie. And we do have to say, Annie was absolutely 100%, 1000% right yesterday when she predicted Taco Trump submitting to the Iranian authorities. Her analysis was spot on, and she was proven right today. You can follow Annie and her Substack, liveuptofreedom.substack.com is Annie's Substack. And we thank you, Annie, for your amazing production skills and also your political analysis. We also want to thank our friends over at the Satellite Phone Store. So this is a big deal. We are seeing the writing is on the wall. The disruptions to supply lines, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and other very critical routes across the globe over the past couple months has set in motion very, very disturbing trends in terms of energy. Oil prices are skyrocketing and supply lines have been broken. New supply lines are being negotiated by our enemies, excluding the United States of America. And we are beginning to see not only across the globe, but here in the US, calls for energy lockdowns and conserving energy, brownouts, blackouts, you name it, they're coming. And all of this, as you know, a created crisis, a controlled crisis, but a crisis nonetheless. And this is why every American needs to be prepared. One of the ways that we fight back against these guys is to become emancipated, independent. Any crisis or chaos they throw at us, we're ready to go. And one of the ways that you can become prepared is making sure that your home is outfitted with a backup generator, whether it's a solar generator or a generator for the whole house. They have an entire line of backup generators at the Satellite Phone Store, sat123.com/joy. That's sat123.com/joy. You do not want to be in a situation where you are out of power and you're vulnerable to the grid, to the government that continues to create and sow chaos in our lives. And the generator is a great way for you to make sure that your family will be protected, that your food will be protected, that you will stay warm and safe, regardless of blackouts or brownouts. So I want you to go to sat123.com/joy today. That is sat123.com/joy. Use that promo code JOY, 10% off everything, your entire order. And some of the generators are bigger ticket items. So it's a really big discount. So make sure you use that JOY promo code to get your generator, backup generators. They have small ones too that can power just a small part of your home so that you don't lose critical things. You can charge your phones, you can make sure your refrigerator is running, that type of thing. So they have an entire line that you can take a look at. Go to sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. They just closed the strait again. And they just closed the Strait of Hormuz again. So yeah, get your generator. Get your generator. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. here in 2026. But I'll be with you every day, not left, not right, just the truth, straight up, right here on the Shannon Joy Show. So if you like the show, give us a like, thumbs up, share it with everyone you know, and make sure you sign up for the SJ Daily newsletter. This is the one way that I can connect with all of you. Go to theshannonjoy.com. That's theshannonjoy.com. Totally independent. If I lose every platform, I will be able to connect with you if you guys are signed up for that email so that you know where we are and where you can find the show. So that's really important. theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on The Shannon Joy Show.